They're on.
We good? All right, let's get going. Sorry for the delay. Welcome everyone to the Lincolnville Select Board meeting. It is the 27th of February. Thank you everyone for attending. Before we get going, Josh, would you read the quote of the evening?
Sure. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. Carl Gustav Jung.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to open the podium for any non-agenda items. Seeing no one rushing up to the podium for non-agenda items, we'll move right along to the administrator's report.
What am I going to report? The nomination papers for elected positions, so select board, school committee, budget committee will all be available on Monday, March 6th. Will need to be returned in April, or no later than April. It takes 25 valid registered voter signatures to be nominated for a position. Come one, come all. Outside of that, I think everything's on the agenda.
Okay, questions for David? All right, let's move along to upcoming meetings and announcements.
All meetings are here at the town office unless announced otherwise. The Lakes and Ponds Committee meets Tuesday, February 28th, 7 p.m. School Committee is scheduled to meet Monday, March 6th, 6 p.m. at the Lincolnville Central School. The Planning Board meets Wednesday, March 8th, 7 p.m. Conservation Commission meets Thursday, March 9th, 4 p.m. Select Board meets next on Monday, March 13th, 6 p.m.
Thank you very much. Are there any upcoming community events anyone wishes to share? Yes.
On Wednesday, Wednesday, day after tomorrow,
Yes.
5 p.m., the Lincolnville School Committee will be holding a principal visioning session at the Lincolnville Central School in Walsh Common. Again, that's at 5 p.m. Anybody that wishes to participate to help prepare a list of attributes for the new Lincolnville Central School principal is welcome to attend and contribute. 5 p.m. Walsh Common.
Excellent.
Wednesday, March 1st.
Thank you very much. Any other upcoming?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, got something. This is down the road, but on Saturday, 5/18 at 5 p.m., there's going to be a spaghetti supper for Adam Dare, Chris Pendleton, the two people that house fire. That's a couple weeks from now.
And where?
You contact that woman right there for more information.
Okay. Excellent. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Yes.
And there's a
5
little-
p.m.
There's a little bit of time to figure that out.
There is, yeah.
Okay, excellent. Let's move along then to meeting minutes. We have a couple sets to approve, so let's work on the first one, please. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the board approve the February 15th and 16th, 2023 meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah,
Yes.
the adjournment, I wasn't on board to vote yes.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
My connection died.
That's right. Thank you for pointing that out.
No, Steve.
Can I have an amended motion?
I make that motion less select board member hands
Participation.
attendance in the vote for the approval.
Yep.
I'll second that.
Excellent. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you very much. And the second set of meeting minutes from the 23rd.
I move that the board approve the February 23rd, 2023 meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? Thank you all very much. And moving along, we postponed from last meeting. Rory had requested this agenda item, and I understand that there is a short video presentation for the board. Rory, did you wish to say anything to the board at this time, or do you want to have us watch the video?
Yeah, why don't we watch them first? They're two
Oh,
different ones.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to make you come up to the podium
Okay.
so anyone watching at home can also.
Oh, yes. Hybrid, love it. So there's two videos that we took of, I live right down the road here and at 555 Hope Road. And I have 3 sons. 2 of them have gone to Lincolnville school since they were in kindergarten. We've had to walk to school. We still walk to school. We like to walk to school. And it's been at times very dangerous for my kids. So there's been a couple times they've almost been hit on Main Street. And there's been one incident on this road too. So that motivated me to start talking to people in the community and coming to these meetings to hope that we would support a sidewalk in the center. I would love this route first and then possibly the Main Street. But anyways, I took 2 videos. One Susan actually took of my husband and my son and our dog walking up to school against traffic on the left side coming this way. And I really wanted to get another video because during that time, the school hours, the speed limit is 15. Not that everyone adheres to that, but people do go slower. So it's not as dangerous as it is later in the day, especially like around 5 when people are getting off work and the traffic is more. During the work, people going to work hours, 7 to 8 in the morning or later, it is busier. So I was trying to get a second video of that time so you can get an idea of how scary that can be. And it is a little darker, and I apologize, but the weather, as you know, has been horrible in the conditions. So I just thought, let's go with this one. And the only other times I could have done it wouldn't have been during that time, so the traffic wouldn't have been as busy. So I wouldn't have given you the idea that I was trying to. So hopefully that second video, it's very short, probably one's 1 minute, the other one's 30 seconds. If you wouldn't mind watching that, everybody, I would really appreciate it. And then if you have any questions after that, but I really just I'm not going away and I'm still gonna push for this sidewalk unless something happens, but I plan on getting more and more people involved because I just feel like it would really, our community and our town would benefit from it. Not to mention that it's a safety issue, which I feel like is very important. So that's it.
Lori, do you prefer the daytime one first?
Yes.
Or okay,
Yes, please.
start with that one. Okay.
Thanks, Rory.
School hours, thanks.
Should I dim the lights? Would that help people be
Yeah.
able to see the?
I think so.
Library.
not a lot of room, you can see it's dangerous, because the oncoming traffic has to go in the other lane because the road's so narrow there.
Just give me one moment. I'm gonna route the audio through the owl cam so we can hear it better.
So this one's actually at like 4:30. Doesn't help with the lights. That's it, so it was,
Yeah, would you mind coming back up to the
yes,
podium?
I forgot, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
So there's a couple things, I really recommend anyone who hasn't walked, just to walk from down where Petunia Pump is up to the school, because there's a little bit of a hill, and you can't tell on the video, but there is a little bit where I feel like, especially that there's been times that when I walk with my kids, you can't see the traffic at one point coming over. So it can be scary for that reason, and there's not a lot of room, and the traffic has to go, like I said, into the other lane. There isn't lights. We don't have a lot of lights in town, but if there was a sidewalk that was separate, I wouldn't be so concerned. I wouldn't care about the lights. But as you can see, when it's dark and there's no lights and traffic's coming, it can be extremely scary. And it's just not safe. So I really, I could do more videos if anyone wanted, but I wanted to give an idea, and Susan was nice enough to video for me so people could get an idea of what that's like. And it doesn't seem like it's a long way, but a lot can happen in that amount of time if people aren't paying attention, especially with texting and everything else distracting driving today. So, and thank you, Josh, for doing that. I appreciate it. I think that's it.
Are there questions for Rory?
Rory, you were on, 2 years ago, you were on that walk with the
Yep.
two MDOT people came by. Okay, we walked that same spot, right?
Yep.
They're talking about sidewalk placements on both sides of the road and where it might go. Yeah, doing some engineering
Yep.
talk. Yeah,
Yeah, the issues at hand,
yeah, just
the
the
taking of land.
takings,
trees.
maybe there's the ledge, where ledge might be or might not be type of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he also mentioned that it could go some sidewalk on one side and then flip
Yeah.
over the other side, depending on all those reasons. Obviously what would be the easiest, the cheapest,
Yeah.
because you'd need a certain amount of space. And there is some ledge right across from my driveway, like some huge ledge. I went out and measured it, and I went to I got actually a petition. People, I just made one up and went around and talked to all the neighbors and said, oh, what would you feel about this? I didn't have one person say it's not a good idea. I did have someone on Main Street concerns about trees and all this stuff. Obviously, this is the beginning, first steps of our journey, and all those things would have to be addressed, as we go along. But I just wanted to know today, as Susan and I talked, like, what next? What can I do? What can we do? What's the next step to get this? I know to get it back on the plan, the comprehensive plan. So because it was on there in 2006, and I don't know what happened, but whoever was trying for it just stopped. So that, I'm trying again, but I'm hoping that it doesn't stop this time. And I'll get as many people and do as much as I can. I even willing to fundraise, whatever we need to do to come up with that part of the proportion that we'd have to pay. This, you know, the state, there are, because it's a state road, they have state funding, but then it's a lot more money, and then there's all these things we talked about at that meeting. So, but I just want to get us started on the journey and just asking, how can we do this today? What's the next thing?
Yeah,
That's all.
So first of all, thank you for coming back. Obviously, we were disappointed not to see you the last time.
Yes.
Certainly understand it.
Sorry about the headache.
But thank you for that, that's good, and certainly understand the concerns, and which, that's been going on for years, and I'm just shocked that someone hasn't got right there, really. Even when I was a kid, which was 100 years ago, or pretty close, it was that way. There were sidewalks in the center when I was a kid. They were on the opposite side of the road, on the Mariner side of the road, and they went all the way to what used to be the fire department, it's now the boat club. My question is this, obviously, there's a lot involved with a sidewalk on both sides, not just logistically, but money-wise. And I'm gonna ask this again, because I asked it the last time, and when we also asked the engineers from the DOT, or the representatives from the DOT, what type of participation would the state have in bringing our nature path, which goes from the school right directly behind your house to the library? What type of participation would there be with help to bring that particular path up to ADA compliant, or would it even be closer to make it safe and to make it usable? And the guy, without even pausing, said, we do participate in things of that nature. In my mind, that's a quicker solution from the school to the library than your two sidewalks coming from the school down to Petunia Pump, and then think about going across the middle of town, you know, Main Street, what we all call Main Street. So I don't hear you or anybody else even considering the path that's already in place, which is safe. Unless you're out there at night. There's no lights out there, so obviously it would be like walking down the road there without the cars. But is there any consideration about that? When you talk to the people, when you talk to the neighbors and the people up and down the road, was that even brought up? Do people even know that path is there? It's a question that I have. I'm trying to figure out every option to make what you're asking for happen. You know, obviously, money's a big situation, especially with this little town. For comparison, we just, in June or close to June, we will have made our last payment on a 15-year, $850,000 bond to fix roads in this town. What we're talking about here, from the school down to the center and from the center over, approaches $2 million. So are there any ideas? I mean, when I see money like that, I'm like, and I look at the budget that we have before us, and I look at how long it took us to pay off the road bond and things of that nature, I'm like, how are we gonna do this? How am I gonna look a taxpayer in the eye and say, this is what we're gonna do because it is needed? Not that it isn't needed, it is needed, and has been needed for years, and it's very important. But how does that conversation go? How are we gonna achieve that? You know what I mean? It's great to do fundraising and things of that nature, but the magnitude of this project is huge.
All the walks, and
I-
I asked that Steve all the questions, and I was told there would be 80-20, and our
Maybe, yeah, the town would participate
20,
20%.
and the state would do 80, that if it's DOT, and he felt very strongly that this could pass as something that was considered safety, especially down in the corner of Petunia Pump, because he ruled that as not being safe at all, that
Yeah,
corner.
and his conversation, when he furthered that, it was like, okay,
Yeah.
we've got to change this intersection.
Yeah.
You know, if we bring maybe that figure's wrong, Rory, but for some reason that sticks in my head. He did say this, if we're gonna intersect this area down here around the Petunia Pump and everything with sidewalks, it's gotta be safe, so we may have to move the intersection in such a way to make it safe to get through it for walking traffic. But I'm just wondering, my biggest thing is, was there any consideration of the walking path to get us started?
Yeah,
The one that's already there.
I don't know. I don't feel like, I think they're two separate things. I think the walking path they made so the school could have access. I'm also a substitute teacher for our district and other districts. So but I have not, they were using that path and I've gone down it myself recently. There's a huge part that's like, there needs to be some development
Yeah.
on there so it could be easily walked. I know they were using it for a while, so they could go to the library and have educational programs there, which is great. But that's taking you that way. I'm talking about right here, just going this way. Where we live, we wouldn't walk all the way and take that path because that path starts way down where the soccer fields are. It's way in the back of the school and it goes that way. So that's over there and I'm talking over here. And I've been addressing kids, but I'm also going to say I've seen people of older age, I don't want to say elderly, but older age walking. I talked to one in the store because I also work in the Lincolnville store. I'm very involved in our community here and bettering it. We have a great community. And, when I talk to that woman, she's like, yeah, sometimes I'm really scared when I walk up here, there's times the girl that I work with got hit when she was crossing the road just recently, a couple months ago. Somebody was traveling going this way. She was walking across the road in front of the store to go to her car where it was parked, and their rear view mirror hit her in the shoulder. That's how close, and they didn't even stop. They just kept on going. So I'm saying, it's for people who are elderly walking. If there's people that have any kind of physical ailments or handicaps, they should be able to have a safe place if they want to go to the store or walk down to the library or, go up to the school. Those, to me, that's like a T. That's the most important. They can come up here to the town office, the post office, the school, and down to the main street. The store and the church is that way, and the community building, and then the church, and then the library is the other way. And to me, it's that I see a T in my head. Like, it'd be so great to have something that's safe for everyone in our town, and to also give each other, support the library, the community. I do the flea markets over there, the store. I talked to Briar. She's totally on board about this. So she's like, I'm with you. So whatever you need me to do, she wants the sidewalks as well. So she's willing to, as a business owner, be on board about what we're doing. And I think we talked about different ways of doing it, that if it's going to be a real sidewalk, it has to be 6 feet. So it's big enough for 2 wheelchairs to go by. There's definitely some state regulations that have to happen, but that we could choose other ways. We could do a walking path or a bike path, so it's a total different thing, and it could be paved or not paved. We could do gravel, we could, we talked about all that, and then the maintenance and paying for that, and there'd be conversations where we would kind of juggle, and see what's the most reasonable way to do this. And I just want to get there and then say, well, this is what we'd have to pay. And then I'm the type of person that I'll be like, let's fundraise. I want to put I want to put a little thermometer just like the church had, and I'm going to just have people involved and do bake-offs and this and that, and let's raise money, because to me, this is super important. So, You know, there's gotta be a way. I've always been brought up, if there's a will, there's a way, and we'll make it work if it's really important to everybody. You know, and it might not happen today, it might be 5 years. That's another thing Steve said. It's like, start now, because it'll
Yeah.
probably be 5 years before you, you know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it'll
So,
be worth it if we stick with it.
yeah, Rory, I think you're coming at it with the best possible attitude, and I think you're doing all of the right things, and it never hurts to come to the select board and remind us that there's stuff happening out there. Just for perspective on numbers, we touched base with Steve from DOT recently, and we're looking at, $700 to $800 a foot. And so for the scope of what we're talking about, just for the DOT part, not the legal fees or taking of land or all of the other stuff that would be part of that, that's over $3 million for this project. And it is an 80-20 split, but 20% of $3.2 million is still
Huge, yeah.
some money to talk about. So I think, you mentioned the 17-year-old comprehensive plan that is currently being reviewed and rewritten. And so I think all of this energy in community networking that you've been doing is perfect to plug into the comp plan and have that documented in there and work with us to create that plan of, does the town want it? I mean, the want is there, but then the second filter of, is the want enough to incur the cost, which is not insignificant, and then developing that path to bring those two things together. And the comp plan is one of those excellent tools that can accomplish that. So I would say, keep doing what you're doing and keep plugging in with the comp plan so that we can dovetail all of those kind of the scarier questions of massive amounts of money, both with the long-term planning and all of the logistics that would have to go into it.
Yep. And I could do some more footwork at least and find out if there's more grants or any other ways to get state money or whatever to do it. And also it doesn't help that with the pandemic, supplies right now is ridiculously expensive. So it might be better anyways to wait for 5 years. Hopefully things will come down by then and it won't be such an expense on that end for materials.
Yeah, thank you again very much for coming back. Any other questions for Rory?
No, I was just going to mention, Rory, you mentioned the comp plan is a great way to get in there and then get it for a future board. But perhaps a wonderful way to get to the comp plan right now is the Heart and Soul program that's operating. It's just I'm not saying the comp plan is a boring operation, but the Heart and Soul is more of a vibrant conversation.
Yes.
And that could be
I
a
agree.
great way to get that in there, and also to drum up a lot of support and meet people, because this is something you shouldn't have to be doing by yourself, and you find people who are also good at what they do too.
Yes.
But thanks a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, and thanks for those videos. The videos are always helpful also in your conversations with people who don't or aren't familiar with this stretch of road. It'll be handy going into future conversations for
Yes.
sure.
And if anyone wants to look at them anymore, well, Josh has copies, of course, but
And now they're part of the live stream.
Yeah,
so
they'll-
you
they'll-
can
okay,
watch
everyone
it.
can see it and you can
Yep.
rewind it and look at it, because
Yep.
I know it's hard to see things. I noticed things later after I watched it. I didn't notice it first.
Yeah,
And
on YouTube, you can review it.
yeah,
As
it's
many
great.
times as
I
you
love
like.
that. I love that.
Thank you
and-
again so
Yes,
much.
thank you. And I did go to the Hearts and Soul, and that was a great meeting. I was so impressed, and I'm definitely going to continue to be involved with that.
Good.
So that's wonderful,
Good.
Susan. But yeah, I'll just keep plugging at it.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks a lot,
Rory.
Rory.
And next up, we have Brandy Moore, who is here to talk to us about Calderwood Road. And if we can invite you up to the podium, introduce yourself for all the folks the legions of folks watching at home.
Yes, hi, I'm Brandy Moore, and I bought Spot On Dog Training Center beginning of July, I believe, of last summer. But I have a history with it going back to 2008, 2009, first as an agility student with my dog McLeod. And then when the Paisleys purchased it, I think it was January 2020, I immediately became a tenant with them and was teaching dog training classes. And then the pandemic hit. Everything kind of went on hold for a few months, but then that was going really well, and I had the opportunity to actually purchase it last summer, which is one of the better decisions I've made in my life. It's been great. But the problem we have, you've all heard probably for years now, is Calderwood Road. It's bad. We had an incident with a daycare client, I believe it was 16th of February, and she actually bottomed out her car. It was so bad. Had waited 2 hours to be towed out in the dark. It's not a safe situation. Poor Jane over there, she's like having to use her sub with its higher clearance to like literally take dogs down to 173 where people were parking, which also isn't the safest, so they can get their dogs. We had to, it's February, this is crazy. As I said, I've been involved with the center since 2008, 2009. Yeah, mud season happens. And, cancel 4 or 5 classes, which really was kind of bad enough. But now this is happening in February. We haven't hit mud season, and we're already canceling classes in daycare. And it is a financial hardship, because the way we all work, if we aren't open, we don't get paid. So, there's another dog trainer there, myself, I'm a dog trainer, and then Jane has daycare. If one of the dog trainers misses a Saturday or Sunday, that comes out to like 25% of our monthly income. So it's a hardship. And then as my other concern, I'm sure Jason Peasley has addressed this, is that you can't get an emergency vehicle up there, and there's just no way. Couldn't get the truck up there to fix the road, it was so bad. And Jason's been pretty adamant. I think the fire department, when they last came 2 years ago, I think this was when they came and discussed this. The fire department, some of them showed up and said, "We're not getting up there." And there's other people up there, you worry, fire, what happens? So I guess where I'm coming at, I know from talking to everyone that you're all behind the idea of fixing the road. Everyone wants to fix the road. As long as I've known it for 20 years, the road has been this way. I can't speak for longer than that, but it's money, as usual. Funds are usually the problem with most things in life. So I'm just wondering, what kind of problem solving can we do together to figure out a way to deal with this road after all these years? Back to you.
Well,
Thank you for the question.
excellent presentation. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
that. While it isn't going to offer immediate solution, we do have money to start the process to fix the road. So, David, correct me if I'm wrong, we've got funds in the approved budget for the engineering
And surveying.
and surveying.
Mhm.
And then, that has to get done. And then it's basically making a call on paving and, the road reconstruction. So we have started the ball rolling to do that. Unfortunately, it's not a quick fix, but Calderwood is next in line to be redone.
That's really good to know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do you want to offer any other details in terms of sort of timeline, next steps, et cetera?
I'll try.
Ish.
So we have obviously we have an annual budget. Last June budget, which runs from July 1st through June 30th this year, funded, as Lately said, the engineering and surveying aspects of this. In the queue ahead of Calderwood Road is our drainage structure on Townhouse Road that, should that not be done, there won't be any road at all. And that's been in the queue for quite a while. And at that point, this year's budget includes some monies towards the reconstruction. We don't know what that level of funding will be because we don't have it. We don't know what we're going to put in there, but won't be inexpensive, I'm sure. So it's going to be a step-by-step look to do the surveying design this calendar year so that we can get a accurate cost estimate for budgets for the future. If we end up with if we're fortunate with the Townhouse Road structure, that it doesn't take as much money as we all imagine it might, then any excess, if I could use that word, excess funds will remain in the road improvement pot of money that can be utilized for any road purpose, including Calderwood Road. So it's starting, but it's not a quick fix.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And I know that Dave Roundy, our public facilities director, has spoken with a number of your clients and a number of your neighbors, which is wonderful. And we're doing what we can to get everybody in and out, whether it be public safety or resident or somebody just visiting your business for the first time. And if it's not, as you said, mud season, we certainly ended up with a late January thaw or an early, what we thought might be an early spring. And I'll agree with you, the condition of the road was horrendous. And we collectively as a town have about 8 miles of gravel road. Calderwood and Joy are Joy Road are kind of the canaries for us because they fall apart sooner. Just due to what's either not in the road or in the road and their location.
So is there any other solution you're considering other than paving it? I mean, patching it, and grading it, and dumping stuff on it must be getting expensive, is what I'm thinking.
It's not inexpensive, to say the least. We haven't got to the solution as yet, but that road, the base of that road isn't really a base. Needs to come out, needs to be replaced with the appropriate materials. Not unlike what we've done on portion of Tucker Brook Road, Broadus Road, Heather Hill Road. Basically, we're probably looking at digging out what's there or a certain depth of that, putting down a filter fabric to separate the good material that we'll be bringing back in from what's underneath it, and also provides additional strength to the road prior to a surface, whether that be pavement or a gravel surface. I think the town administrator, the public facilities director, who is not here to chime in, and any past road commissioner that I'm familiar with would like to see the road paved. It just provides a better level of service for the traveling public in maintenance-wise. Because any material, if you can imagine, once it's saturated with water, it loses its strength.
Right.
And that's why even some of our a lot of our paved roads will be posted here as soon as it gets warm enough, because it just doesn't have the capabilities of supporting the load. Pavement helps that, spreads the load out more.
We're absolutely open to any solution that will allow people to get up to not only our business, but also the other two businesses that are above us up
Yeah.
the road.
We want to get to,
Whatever's-
we'd like to get the reconstruction to the end of the road and a suitable turnaround constructed. We've had our plow contractors suggest to us that it would be to our advantage financially to see better conditioned roads too.
Yeah, and as you indicated and David implied, ultimately it saves us. I mean, the initial building of a paved road is not insignificant, but
Right.
long-term,
Right.
it saves the town money.
Yeah, I would
So-
think, I mean, just the 20 years that the training center's been there, not to mention, I don't know how long the other businesses have been there. I mean, how many times that's been fixed? Probably gonna pave the road 3 times by now. It's, I mean,
Yeah, well,
Probably not, but.
oh, you don't think?
No.
well, I mean, we're talking about how, we're just finishing paying off that road bond that we took out in 2008.
Yeah,
And that was to fix 5 roads?
Part of Thurlow, Heather Hill, Broadus, Tuckerbrook, 4.
Okay, so,
A
yeah, we have to look at it comprehensively, and so unfortunately,
Absolutely.
comprehensively in municipal language means slowly.
oh, I understand how this
but-
works, yes.
But,
Do municipal speed.
yeah, but we're working,
proud of it.
but we can confidently say we're working on it, and we're
Mhm.
taking the steps as fast as we reasonably can to get to a place where it isn't critical.
Well,
Like-
in the meantime, I was thinking, that mutter sport where people like race and they carry their wives and stuff. Perfect location.
You could start another business.
There you go. Why we didn't think of that before? So in the meantime, are you going to continue, like last year, it was repaired a lot better than this year, but I think no one expected February to be mud season.
Yeah.
Is that just what we're going to continue on with until we can get a permanent solution, or?
We're going to continue to maintain the roughly 8 miles of gravel road that we have as best we can. And I would think I'm hoping that some of what you saw last year will still provide a suitable travel surface for part of the road, and where it's not, we're gonna be back making a similar effort when the time is right. Part of the ongoing challenge is you need to get the right stuff at the right location at the right time.
Mhm.
And when it's really soupy and whatever, you can actually do more harm on the road than you can good. I think that's why the last time we made just a short effort here a couple weeks ago or 10 days ago, it was a late afternoon on a Friday
Mhm.
that we actually hit it, because we knew that the cold weather was, well,
Yeah.
we didn't know. It was predicted the cold weather was coming. We were hoping to firm it up some, get it shaped up, and then get it to freeze and get it back to a shape that sheds the water as best we can.
Mhm.
It's going, there's still frost in the ground, and when it comes out, it is going to be challenging there for sure, and
It's
elsewhere.
gonna be brutal, yeah.
And
But we will certainly do our best, and,
Thank
staying in
you.
touch with us and
Yep.
is the best thing to do.
And it,
Okay,
yeah,
Thank you.
it doesn't hurt for you to look. I mean, David, the other David, not this David, looks at these roads on almost a daily basis. So he should be familiar, but it does not hurt to call and say whatever it is you want to say to convey it. And David has said that everybody that's called thus far has been very understanding and pleasant about a bad situation. We're not doing, we want to do as best we can. And we're not doing something because somebody's, not calling or whatever. Just
Right,
call and
Yeah.
speak your mind.
Right. And I think we all understand that. I mean, it's a bad situation, and it's like, what can be done? And probably originally, if the road was going to be that bad, maybe putting the businesses up there in the first place wasn't a great idea. But I don't think anyone realized that 20-something years ago.
Well, the increase in traffic is huge up there compared to, and I'll go back to it, back when I was a kid 100 years ago. I mean, it was nothing back then.
Yeah.
Over time, there's been repairs here and there, but like you said, the last 20 years, maybe 25, there's double the population up there, maybe even triple the population. Plus, we got businesses up there, you got cars coming and going every day.
Right.
The time for an upgrade would have been 20 years ago. And, and we're feeling the effects of it right now. But like David says, you guys, Caldwell Road is up here.
Thank you.
For us, and we're working on it, but it makes no sense to just go in and throw a repair there. Like you said, you could have rebuilt the road three times, maybe, I'm not
That's
sure.
my very unscientific guess there.
But what I'm saying is we want to do it right so we don't have to do this again. And that's why the study, and that's why, the engineer look at it, that type of thing, so we can do the best for it. It'd be great if we had all tarred roads. I know a lot of our taxpayers don't want all paved roads, but it's cheaper for us in the long run.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, I don't think anyone up there cares if it's paved or just repaired so that it doesn't do what it does anymore.
Yeah.
That's kind of the town's,
Doing the right
the
thing
selectmen's
is
decision.
really what we want to do.
Yeah. What about, this is a slide, but all that infrastructure money that we're supposed to be getting into Maine in the next 10 years? Is there any ETA when that's going to be trickling down to Lincolnville?
That may help. We keep all our ears. Yeah, we're always looking for opportunities for things like that to help. So yeah, if that's an opportunity, we'll jump on it for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you so much again for
Welcome.
coming in. We always love having the company and like hearing from folks who are experiencing the things firsthand.
Well, thank you. Thanks
Yeah.
for listening.
Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
And so the person who requested agenda item number 8 wanted it bumped to March 13th. So we're gonna just skip right over agenda item number 8 and move on to the bicentennial CD reinvestment. And David, would you care to speak on this?
Sure. When the bicentennial concluded in 2002, the committee that had existed and raised money and sold things and whatever else had funds left over, which they donated to the town to help fund a committee or I guess it depends on who you are, the 300th anniversary of the town. The funds were placed in a CD at Key Bank at the time. And it was put in a 10-year CD, which 10 years ago came due and was just automatically reinvested in a CD. And now that CD has come due again, or tomorrow, or sometime in the next couple days. And the question is, do you want to just let it roll in there again? Do you want to take it out and put it in a different CD with a different bank, like our current bank? Do you want to move it into investments? Challenge with investments is investments can go up, investments can go down. Challenge with the CD is best rate we can find right now on a 5-year is 3.5%, and inflation's about 8%. So you're losing money.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not losing money, but you're not keeping pace. The balance of it on the date, which is February 25th, is when it renews. Today's the 27th, so it's been 2 days. $1,712.86, and you have till March 7th to do something without penalty.
Questions for David?
Huh? What do you think? What do you, how are we gonna do anything with this?
What did I tell you I thought back then?
I mean, I think rolling it in with our town's investment manager is probably the best way to have those monies actually do something for us. I mean, there is the risk, but having it be managed is more appealing to me.
I agree.
I agree, as long as those funds are accounted for separately, that they don't get lost in,
Oh, I see
in
what you're saying.
in 80 years, or
Yeah.
whenever the 300 comes around, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
In that time, we can make sure it's separate.
Yeah, we can track those.
We do. I mean, we have, you know, the fire truck fund, we have
Right.
the whatever fund, the other shade tree fund, it just goes on and on and on, so.
Okay.
So they're actually separate accounts with the.
Their money is pooled together to invest, because if we, you know, we have $1,700 here and $500 here and $3,000 here and $30,000 in the cemetery. That's all pooled together, but it's accounted for separately.
Okay.
We track what we put in initially, and then, you know, the interest it earns is accounted for separately.
Excellent. Well, then would someone care to make a motion,
I
please?
move that the board approve investing the bicentennial funds with the town's investment manager, that the funds be accounted for separately.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you all very much. And hard to believe anything is going to grow outside ever again, but we do have consideration of lawn care maintenance bids, of which we received many,
Yeah.
which is wonderful. And so we have a recommendation after the respondents had been met with, and if someone cares to make a motion.
I move that the board award the 2023 mowing, trimming, and lawn care maintenance project be awarded to Earl's Property Management for the unit prices bid totaling $7,100.
Second, yeah.
Moved and well seconded. Discussion, questions? Yeah, Kern.
What was the bottom line for last year?
Off my top of my head is like $6,700 or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, it was right around there.
Looking at these bids, they're all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
They are.
And my only question is, and I know I've said this before, although we don't have anybody in town to bid on this, is the low bid the place to go? And I assume we're getting a recommendation from our facilities.
Yeah.
Yep.
We, David met with the owner of Earl's Property Maintenance, and we went over everything after the bids were open. I don't know if he met with him prior or not. Went right to all the sites one more time, and guy's got the equipment, he's got the manpower or person power, and seemed confident in his bids even after knowing what the other people bid, so.
Wow. He's half of,
Yeah.
he's half of two of them.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
you know, you never know what somebody else's work might already have on the books.
Yeah.
What goes through the mind of a contractor is beyond me. That's why I'm not one.
Okay, so is there any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor? Thank you all very much. And we have consideration of utility pole. Central Maine Power has applied for 2 new utility pole locations adjacent to High Street. They have been reviewed and approved by both Will Brown and our Public Facilities Director, and so I will entertain a motion.
I move the board approve the application for pole location, work order number 801-000-525-097, as submitted by Central Maine Power Company for 2 utility poles to be installed adjacent to High Street.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Seeing nothing, all those in favor? Thank you all very much. And now for the most exciting portion of the evening. This is the time where the public can come and comment or ask questions of the board or our town administrator on the proposed fiscal year 24 municipal budget. And if there are no questions right now, after hearing the select board's deliberation, you are welcome to come back to our next meeting and ask further questions, because there will be more public comment opportunities. Once the board gets into the deliberations, the board's just gonna have its conversation. You just get to watch us talk. So I'm guessing not, you're satisfied to watch the board have a conversation.
Get ready.
All right. Well then, let's shift binders.
David S.
Could I have 20 seconds to go get my binder?
Yes.
Well, you could.
Adjourning wouldn't get us anywhere. Adjourning would get us another meeting sometime between now and March 13th.
Let's do it now.
I did want to mention that I didn't hear from any of you, but there is going to be a meeting too at the school about a preschool.
Oh, do you want to come up to the, we can't talk to you in the audience. So we have to invite you up to the podium.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Rory Seliger. There is going to be a meeting at the school, if I could grab my phone from my son, I know the date, but about they got a grant to do a preschool for the year of 2023 and 2024.
Okay.
So they sent out a survey to all the parents on, like, I got a text with it and I did the survey with 4 questions, but I wasn't sure because it is in the town. I thought I'd just let you know that meeting's going to be happening and I could get the date. I just need to look at my phone. It's
Okay.
coming up though. It's in March, and it's pretty soon.
Okay.
So I didn't know if anyone wanted to know about that or go to that.
Okay, super.
Open to everybody, yeah.
Thanks,
Thanks, Rory.
Rory. Okay, so making sure that we're all on the updated budget form, should be draft February 24th, 2023. And as soon as I get to that page, okay. So is everyone okay with me just going through it page by page? And if there are things that come up that we want to discuss, get more information on, cut, add, etc., that works?
Sure.
In there.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, it should, in the lower left-hand corner, it should say February 24th. Yeah, all right, super. All right, so we'll move along to page 2. The summary in comparison, administration and finance. Page 3, okay, here we go. Page 4, administration and finance. First and foremost, I want to call out under wages for town administrator, I want to make a motion that we add 0.8% over COLA for our town administrator to bring his increase this year to a total of 9.5 over the current budget year.
Which is what we agreed to 2 weeks ago.
Correct.
Two
Correct,
meetings
and
ago.
and it isn't represented
Right.
here in the budget,
Yeah.
and so I
Right,
wanted
yeah.
to, do we need a motion, David? Do you want to vote on these things? Or is it
I don't-
consensus?
At the, you can,
Page 4. Yep. Town administrator,
you can do it any way you want to.
yeah.
In the end, in 2 weeks, hopefully in 2 weeks, you will have the budget work to whatever your recommendations are, and then at that point, you would make a motion to either recommend the whole thing or recommend, section by section.
Okay.
So I think as long as you give ample direction, so we inside know what to change in here.
Yeah.
for your
So,
next version.
so you have COLA applied to the town administrator wages line, yes?
No,
Okay. So then it would be 9.5.
I agree.
Okay. All right. Other than that, is there anything, I have nothing else under administration and finance on page 4. Is there anything else anyone cares to call out or question? Okay. Skipping page 5, it's explanations. Page 6, animal control. The thing that sticks out in my mind, there's a significant increase requested from our ACO, and in no way, shape, or form is this a commentary on her performance. I think she does a really great job for us, but considering the economic climate, I think it would be reasonable to keep it at the COLA increase of 8.7.
How many times has she requested
She has.
an increase? This is the first time?
We gave an increase 2 years
in
ago.
2020, I think it might have been 19.
I think
I didn't bring my
it was
notes.
19.
The Wage and Personnel Committee reviewed fire chief, road commissioner, all our stipend positions. Fire chief, road commissioner, harbor master, inland harbor master, fire chief, and made certain recommendations for positions. At that point, there were a number of them that they recommended stay, after doing a comparison, recommended to the board that they stay where they were. And then I'm thinking road commissioner, fire chief, don't know if any of the other ones, they recommended an increase.
Right.
Fire chief, first year wanted to delegate that to others, and I think we made the board split the difference or something. And then, so people have been receiving, since that study or review was done, these positions, and you can see that in the ACO stipend, have received the whatever adjustment the board made to the other pay scale,
Right.
they've continued to receive.
Right.
I think she might have made a request long ago for something different, but.
Yeah. I think there was a moderate increase a while back, but
Yeah.
not something as significant as this. So yeah, so that's my proposal, is to keep it at 8.7.
That would change it to 57.99 if I did my math right earlier.
Correct.
Thoughts from the board on this?
Do we think she'll be okay with that?
It does beg the question, what's like, job opportunities? How difficult would it be to find another ACO officer? I don't know.
I wouldn't look forward to it. But we'd do it if somebody decided they were getting done. We did include behind your budget packet some information about what animal control officers were paid elsewhere.
Yeah, seeing that. Yeah.
Which, it's challenging to compare apples to apples sometimes, because you don't know how many calls the person gets, how many people are on the dog warrants that get issued for unlicensed dogs. But it seemed like we were certainly in the realm of the market. She does do a good job keeping up with the challenges, and she does do it, as you see, her email's also in there. She does have, 1, 2, 5 other communities that she's providing the service for.
Yeah.
I would feel comfortable going with the COLA and then making sure that she's on the list of reviews for stipended positions like we did
Yep.
2 years ago.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's all we can do.
Sorry, you said you are
Yeah,
comfortable?
yeah, with the COLA 8.7, which is a kind of a generous COLA,
Yeah,
all
it's a-
things considered.
It is,
Yeah,
it is a big bump.
yeah, yeah.
So consensus that we'll go with that for now?
Okay.
All right. Anything else on page 6 for protection animal control?
It's probably important, not necessarily on page 6, animal control, for the board to know that what you do tonight, particularly for Steve, who haven't sat through this whole process before.
Last year.
Oh, did you?
Sat over
Oh,
there
sat over
last year.
there.
And I was on the budget committee last year.
Oh, yeah. What you do and talk about tonight, what we will do is go through and plug all the numbers and the changes in, and then you'll get it again, and you'll be like, oh, I still don't like it, or, oh, I love it, and, so that this isn't your sole bite at the apple, so to speak.
Yeah. First draft editing. All right, let's move along to page 7, protection fire department. Anything there?
Well, yeah, this is one of the mowing, this is where I tend to think that the bids that we just got in, that we just approved, Earl's, comes in. And because we have mowing for the fire department, and we've got $5,000 for lawn care landscaping, he's charging us $2,000. I don't know what exactly, other than bush hogging, weed whacking, I assume he's doing, I figure he's doing it all for $2,000, and we're budgeting $5,000. So I'm not sure exactly what is involved.
Now, that number will change when we get our next copy, right?
Yeah,
Well, no, well, only if you change it. The bush hogging is the field mowing that we have done once a year. That's in addition to that.
Okay.
I'd made a little red mark in mine and put $3,200 in there.
yeah.
If somebody had asked me today what that should be, I'd
Okay.
say $3,200.
So
But then-
we're looking at $1,200 for bush hogging, more or less. For whatever Earl provides.
Yeah, the other thing that's a little bit challenging is this budget runs from July to June.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And this mowing guy that's doing it this year for X number of dollars may not be doing it for the same price next year.
Right.
So we've got half of his mowing.
Yeah.
So you've got to give yourself a little bit of a cushion to figure that who's ever bidding next year might want more money.
but I think dropping that 5 to 3,200 makes a lot of sense.
Okay. I had a question. So this doesn't account for installing fiber, right?
No.
And I saw that we confirmed there's no empty conduit.
Correct.
I would like to include some figure here to install fiber. I think we need high-speed internet at our command center for an emergency.
Would that be on page 7 or would that be under capital improvement, David?
It could go either. I mean, if we're going to,
The way,
I mean,
the way my mind works, breaking it out into a capital improvement just organizationally makes more sense, but I hear you. I'm just wondering where we should stick it so
Yeah.
that it.
Probably, okay. I guess it's going to depend on whether or not it would be an installation of a new conduit. Then I would put it under capital because you're going to have to trench in either across the pavement or around the pavement to get conduit in there.
And it would have to have a separate conduit, Steve?
There's either gonna be plenty of space in the existing one, but most of the time most companies want a separate conduit, but if there's plenty of room, it's already used by them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, if there's a telco conduit.
Mhm.
that's
Oh, right,
funded
maybe they
running
already-
it, they oftentimes will pull the existing.
Right, they do have DSL, so.
Right.
you know,
Well, there's telco services in there, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
power and telco have to be in separate conduits, but if
Right.
whoever did it, put in a tiny conduit,
Yeah,
which oftentimes happens.
yeah.
We know any of that information.
It's a pretty good sized conduit out there right now.
It's pretty good. then there's
The
probably-
other thing that might be possible is, now that I'm thinking about it, is the fire station has coax in there for the cable, which is supposedly
They can
going.
use the coax as the pole line.
Yeah,
Right.
it's pull it right
Yeah, and supposedly that's going out of business, or
Yeah,
they're not taking on new customers, so
Right.
maybe
All
that,
right, so we do have
Okay,
means of
great.
So they probably could pull
so if we're gonna make the assumption that we're not putting.
it's still gonna be an install cost. It's
Right,
not gonna be as big.
so your thought is if it's just an
My-
install cost, then.
my
putting it
thought
in
would
here-
be to huddle with the fire chief and then huddle with the representative to make sure that there's actually fiber out on the road, which, okay, good, everybody knows that.
Very bad.
And then talk to the ISP to say,
Give us a quote for.
Here to here.
Yeah,
and try to get that fiber.
is everybody in agreement that we want them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's great, yeah.
Fire station.
Good call.
After that emergency
that might open up a
scenario,
lot of eyes.
No kidding.
Okay.
I appreciate our fire chief's willingness to sort of do what he does, but boy, if we actually had a serious
We
catastrophe,
need to
Okay.
have,
yeah.
Now, should we also look at the adding a commercial cell phone booster? I see that in your notes.
see, that was like a 12 to 1,500.
Yeah,
Would that be lumped into
Actual work.
capital investment, or do we just
No,
call
that-
that equipment?
Yeah, I think it would be in here somewhere, definitely on page 7.
Equipment purchases?
Is that something that we want to ask the taxpayers to afford this year?
well, it's one of those things, it could be, geez, it could be redundant, couldn't it? If hardcore fiber and good wireless is in there, most cell phones can switch to
If you have
wireless as
Wi-Fi
opposed to, yeah. So, I mean, if that were, if we knew that every person in that building was doing that, then the problem's solved.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see, once fiber's in, how that goes, and
And functionality of the cell phone boosters is hit or miss.
Do it? Okay. Is it-
Sometimes they work great, and sometimes there's zero benefit at all.
Can someone explain how it works, a cell phone booster?
It creates its own separate radio communication between the cell phone and the booster. And the booster is got a better antenna up on a roof or whatever that talks, gets as much
Okay.
signal as it can, but then it's doing its own communication to your cell phone.
And it's agnostic to the providers?
It's pass through.
So you're still in the same geographical area, you're still relying on what
But
you
if
can
you put an
get.
antenna up on a roof
Right,
and everything.
it's gonna be
you
slightly
can-
better, yeah.
Right, you can typically,
Okay,
I tested one at the farm. We had a vendor that had one over at my farm, and it was zero benefit.
yeah.
I tested the same unit right down here, the other house I just sold on the street here, and it worked great. But it was like,
Fun.
but fiber would solve it.
Okay. So anything else under protection fire department?
So was the consensus to not include that?
Not
For this-
include,
don't
yes.
include
Okay, just wanted to make sure, 'cause
Yep. Skipping
We
page
meander.
8, which is an explanation, we're into protection other. Anything there?
So I just wanted to talk on emergency management.
Mm-hmm.
We need a representative,
Yes.
and that is a meaningful amount. It really is.
Yeah, well, and the challenging thing is we were at the point where we were ready to have a really fruitful discussion about how to apply good and accurate numbers to that line, but then we don't have that person. And I think we have to get that position filled in order to have a really constructive conversation about like, what does that job need? Does it need equipment? Does it need, supplies, all of those kinds of things? Yeah, Josh.
Did anyone approach, thought we were going to approach someone or a handful of people? Did anyone show interest?
We included in every firefighter that got paid in December, along with their check, they got a nice little note saying, hey, we've got this opening if you're into, a little passive, but we got nothing, no response back.
Would it be worth advertising?
Probably.
I mean, that's not a conversation necessarily relevant to now, but maybe we just need to think about putting a job ad in.
But there's still Kern's
Point of,
concern of, but so we advertise for a position that doesn't really provide much in the way of salary.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, and that's where I would think the wages and personnel
Yeah.
folks would have,
Well, I think, if I remember correctly, when that all blew up, we were talking to the representative that we had. And we were talking, my God, we realized when he was outlining what he was doing, what he had done for us and the information that he was presenting to us, we realized that he was grossly underpaid for the time that he was spending. And we had a selectman that blew that up for us. But I think we were getting to a point where we were, hey, we gotta compensate this particular position. I had a number in my mind of starting at 3,500. Because, and I go back to what Hank was presenting to us. The time and the effort that he put in. True, he's a person that is very serious about what he does. The job could probably be done with less effort, or less time. But it definitely wouldn't be as comprehensive as he had it.
would it be possible to do a tiny bit of homework between now and next time for, just to have some comparative numbers to talk about? I mean,
That would be great.
I just have no idea whether $3,500 is insulting or like, wow, that's
Well,
pretty good.
I don't either. I felt like we were insulting him by giving him his $2,500.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
To me, it's gonna be somewhere between the deputy chief and the chief of the fire department. The fire department's gonna do,
And that's what he
what
wants.
he's putting in.
Yeah. Or a first responder or somebody, yeah, but.
Yeah, we can put some effort into it. That is a position that you could work full-time at if you were really into it, which it doesn't necessarily require in the town of Lincolnville. It also, even after we do a comparative and provide that to you, it would also be good, I think, to roll it back into, if we're going to look at ACOs on the Wage and Personnel Policy Board, roll it back into their laps to say,
Yeah, for sure.
You want to chime in here, because
Absolutely. Okay, anything else on page 9? All right, let's move along to page 10, town office building. Anything here? Yes.
the landscaping, I think we're, once again, pretty close with that monies. I didn't know if you wanted to, shouldn't raise my hand on this part. Talk about
No, go ahead.
snow.
Okay.
That 8,000 is $1,120 more than you probably need to have.
It's, say that again?
That number could be $6,880.
So why do you say,
Okay.
why do you say that based on what we're doing this year? Or-
Based on the price that we got.
Okay.
6,880.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for that updated number.
Yeah, I got a 680. I got a line there about the power washing the building.
Mm.
Mold removal, well, whatever, I can't remember what you call it. Clean the exterior siding, that's
General Scunge.
scrunge, yeah. I'm wondering how necessary that is this year, given the squeeze that
Mm.
the numbers are putting on us. Are we talking about losing siding if it's not cleaned this year?
It's just gonna get, no.
Well, of
the
course it's
siding-
gonna get. it's
This,
gonna get-
this is, has hardy plank on it, it's that concrete.
Yeah.
I'd be worried about mold.
I don't think it's mold, I think it's mildew
Mildew.
from being on the dark side of the moon particularly.
Yeah,
Any
that's
place
what
that
I
gets
looked at it, that's
moisture.
what I saw, yeah.
Yeah.
And when was it last power washed?
It never was,
Never. And this building is how old?
8 years.
You know, something, our budget is built all around, and we constantly talk about maintaining infrastructure. I think this is something that we shouldn't question. Really.
Mhm.
That pressure washing was how much again?
I don't know if we broke it out, I want to say,
It
You
is,
got,
Wanna say it's
you got
about 2.
6 for
yeah.
6,000.
The remainder that built that up was somewhere, I think it was somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 we put in there. for-
yeah, I thought that that's what we talked about.
Okay.
I have a question for David.
Yeah,
What do we, first of all, do we often have residents come here to use the internet, the Wi-Fi?
We often have people come to the front counter that utilize the public Wi-Fi that we have here. You know, they get in insurance cards.
yeah.
Everybody does that on their phone now, except for me. I still have a paper card. And then some of the, some committee members chime in on it.
Do you think that, do you know the current speed that the town subscribes for the public Wi-Fi?
I think it's 10, but I don't know that.
Right.
Do a speed test.
Oh, I could just do a speed test, that's true.
You're the only person I know that's on it right now.
Okay.
It's,
I just wonder if it's if we want to consider upgrading it for people using their computers in meetings or for the public who comes in. Although knowing that LCI changed their fee structure, maybe just a phone call would bring it up to 100 over 100.
yeah, they may have already done that for us without us knowing it too. Seems as though,
I'm getting 50 by 50 right now.
okay,
On myself,
I
You
want,
beat me.
I want to say,
which is plenty fast.
when,
Yeah,
I want to say they might have, I don't know how they do this, you know, technology is not my bailiwick. They might have taken our 2020 at one point and split it and given 10 to the public and 10 to the private. And then it sounds like maybe we've been bumped to 100 and go 50-50, so.
Okay.
We've never, to the best of my knowledge, nobody's ever complained that they couldn't work it.
Okay.
Or use it.
Sounds good.
Okay, well, yeah, well, on Wi-Fi, this is not germane to this budget, but I assume that eventually this town will be having conversations with LCI and negotiations, and they'll be give and take about some things.
I hope so.
Yeah, and I would like to note that next year's budget, we may see some of these numbers being taken over by LCI, because they may offer, hey, how about we wire up you guys, your town office for free?
I love your thinking.
Yeah.
I'm not that optimistic.
I don't think they're going to offer that, but maybe that's something the town might want to ask them in exchange for our goodwill. So anyway, but that's next year's budget, but that's what I see when I ever see,
Okay.
when I look at the numbers.
So anything else on page 10? Okay, page 11, contingency.
Looks good to me.
Okay, moving along. Page 12, code enforcement. Okay, but that was one that if we're continuing wages and personnel, just out of curiosity, I wonder how we stand regionally.
So I do have a question on that. There's $300 in there for water monitoring, and I listened to the lakes and ponds. We talked to the McGonagall watershed, and everybody's doing testing. How much testing do we need to do? And how much of it is redundant?
Well,
Or is it totally different when it comes to our code enforcement?
it's different, but it's the same. It's different. McGonagall watershed is the primary sampler for the lake, Norton Pond.
Yeah.
When they have an exceedance there, they do a retest. Again, McGonagall watershed just does it the next day. And what Gary from Lakes and Ponds was saying is if they still continue to get an exceedance, McGonagall watershed says, we'll be back next week. What Lakes and Ponds was proposing is being able to say, well, we obviously still have a problem. Let's get a sample at the little drainage brook that dumps in right next to Breezemere Park. Let's go up, by the culvert underneath 52, get a sample there to try to figure out more detail about where it's coming. Basically, McGonagall watershed is just monitoring. They're not looking for the source. Lakes and Ponds is looking for the source. For code enforcement, it isn't necessarily water quality associated with swimming as it might be water quality associated with septic.
Yeah.
Or follow up on,
Yep.
I don't have a problem with my septic. Well, look, I'm standing here and I'm smelling it. I'm seeing this in the ditch. And guess what?
Yeah,
I got my little sample bottle
Question
All right.
answered.
and
super.
gives them a little more to
Page,
act on.
page 13, assessing, anything there? No? 14, public works, highways and bridges.
Is it inappropriate to ask what the stages are for negotiations with Farley?
Thursday.
Thursday, yeah.
Their
So
conversation.
we'll know more next time.
Thanks.
Yep.
And the beach parking lot number is spot on. I don't know how I did that one, but
You're just that good.
apparently,
Yeah, so these numbers will change for our next conversation.
potentially.
Okay.
So page 15, public works transfer station. Enjoy that number.
No,
Oh,
What?
raise my hand.
what?
The select board could recommend a slightly lower number, it being $95,554. The reason being, the board of directors approved the town assessment staying the same. Well, the town assessments the total town assessments to the 4 towns are remaining the same, but the formula set forth in our interlocal agreement says it be distributed based on population and valuation.
Oh.
And our population and valuation changed differently than others, so our fee went down slightly.
So what was our fee?
$95,554.
Thank you for.
Nicely done, David.
There.
I didn't do a thing,
Well,
except to recognize the
You
fact that we
pointed it
need to
out.
plug in a different number.
Hey, we actually see a
Well,
negative here.
well, now gaze upon this new and wonderful number, and then we move on.
Solves everything.
So page 16, public works, harbor. Anything there?
So last year, did we have Harbor Savings take some of this?
Yes, we have revenues on the last page that has some harbor fees and donations. that would reduce that.
Yeah.
Reduce it to the property taxpayer, not reduce the amount we can expend.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good there. Move along to page 17, Public Works Other. I don't know how everyone feels about the brown tail moth mitigation tree replacement line for $3,000.
I don't see it necessary at all. However, last year, we had a couple of people, me and somebody else from the Conservation Commission, do a survey, an actual look at that before the budget request was made. We didn't do that this year. So, you don't have the Conservation Commission to back you up.
Yeah.
So, I can't say how many nests are in those oaks right now. All I can say is that they're not bad at my house, and they haven't been for the last couple of years.
So last year, when the Conservation Commission did the survey, how bad was it?
There's nothing at all.
There
Zero.
was- Last year was almost a mute
No.
year.
There's
It
nothing.
was, what, 2 years prior to that?
2 years ago, it
Something
was,
like that,
two,
because-
3 years ago, it was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, the last 2 years of my house, we got, but that, we're in North Lincolnville, got a lot of oaks.
Yeah.
So, nothing. But I don't know what's happening down there. But last year, there was absolutely nothing.
Well, shall we cut that number and then perhaps if a couple
I'm willing to do it.
astute
I'm
eyeballs could go down there,
yeah, I'm
we could
willing to
always
drive-
put it back in.
willing to drive down there in daylight. you
Sound
know?
good?
I'm
Yeah,
good with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll cut it for now.
Good.
And then,
Just like that axe, it's going.
boom. Anything else on page 17?
Yeah, well, yeah, we have when the Lincolnville Improvement Association came to us, they mentioned that they might be doing something with these trash barrel closer replacements, remember?
Is that why your hand's up, David?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Did we hear anything?
They're still looking to do something. You haven't all decided whether or not you're going to fund them. I don't know if their ability to do anything hinges on whether or not you're going to make a donation. Those barrels, you could patch them if you want.
You're saying, in your opinion, they're patchable rather than replace them at 10 grand?
Everything's patchable. Just go to look
Yeah,
at
okay.
Calderwood Road.
Okay.
What would a patchable number represent then?
I would say patchable would be let the LIA patch them to the best of their ability and put this to zero, and
I'd say we-
I'll tell our
I
vendor.
like
I say
that
we
idea.
do that.
As long as it's not
And-
gonna embarrass the town, I think go for it. You know?
And if they fall apart in 2 years, we can,
Have
the
another
future board
conversation.
can
We'll-
yeah,
Exactly.
look at it again.
Yeah.
They'll be back on your list next year if the contractor.
Sound good with
walks
everybody?
away.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else further down here?
Where is the gazebo on this?
No, the gazebo is on, I think,
Capital
capital
improvement.
improvement,
Okay.
so we'll be getting there.
Good, I can't wait.
Yeah, so I do, yeah, one more thing about the Penobscot Park. Does Earl's bid for the Penobscot Park come into this?
It does, but
He's giving us
it's
$4,000.
lumped in with everything else, and there really wasn't a whole lot of difference between what he bid and what we plugged into that.
Okay, because I was just breaking it out.
This-
And if Earl's gonna charge us $4,000, we've got $11,000 in the rest of the cleanup.
Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine $11,000 in cleanup there, because didn't we already do like the major tree removal?
We still.
There's still a
have
lot.
Oh, is it?
roofing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought it had been.
What do we got left?
Well, the roofs are left to do, but we've got the funds for that.
Yeah.
That, in my mind, is, that location's still quite a work in progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And until we get a little track record of mowings and how much tree work we have to do every year, I'm saying this should be safe for us.
Okay.
If you want to make it less safe, not the location less safe, but budgetary less safe, feel free to put a line through. We'll just run
I
out.
would not do that.
All right, so
Sorry.
moving along, page 18, boards and committees. So I guess I have to bring up my thoughts on the broadband/digital equity committee proposal. And that I think the broadband committee has made some really great strides and progress in getting us to where we are. And I guess in studying this proposal, it doesn't seem to me that what it actually does is guarantee access to everyone. And so we're guaranteeing access or contributing towards guaranteeing access to some. And I think that considering the financial climate of this particular budget and the fact that I feel like that this could be workshopped a little bit more so that we could work with our current provider to figure out that goal that we have adopted of getting access to everyone, 100% of our users that want to use it. And so I'm not sure that this particular proposal accomplishes that. So I think it could be workshopped and then maybe revamped.
So I would ask the board to look at these as sort of two separate items. So you've got the first part, the broadband installation benefit that would help 100 homes. So that would not that would certainly not guarantee equal access to everyone. That's 100 low income homes, whoever signed up for it. And if the board doesn't want to support that, I mean, it's you know, I'll just leave that up to the board. The second part, the public awareness campaign, which would be $3,940, that could help. I mean, it would help everyone that is eligible for that discount of $30 a month, potentially forever. And I see so much value in that. And that potentially could help a lot more than 100 households. So I would ask the board to just sort of scrutinize them separately, because they're not.
But it's still just offering it to some, you know, that's.
Well, the people that need it the most.
Well, yes, yeah. Oh, can I interrupt?
Sure.
Yeah, okay, so
Yeah,
I wasn't
interrupt.
in on the digital equity part of the broadband thing, but on the initial thing. I thought the whole digital equity movement was entirely different. It wasn't trying to get 100% comprehensive coverage to everyone, but rather to try to level the playing field and simply be more inclusive. And I think this goes toward that.
Mhm.
But I don't think a digital equity program tries to address the whole problem, rather just to
I was just referring back.
mitigate.
I was referring back to the original charge for
Right.
the broadband committee from the select board.
This is a
Home
for a new proposed charge. This is
a brave new
absolutely
world.
totally separate from the previous charge.
Okay.
That's
This is the digital equity committees, or whatever we're calling them now. This is that group's.
I would just add that I feel strongly that we should be, at some point here, forming this broadband digital equity committee, as was recommended.
Mhm.
It will need some amount of funding. I've done some further thinking about it and looking around the community at people that are thinking, no, that they'd be somebody that probably could go after that $100. And almost everybody I've asked, they already have it. So it's like, how many of the, are we actually gonna find 100 people that, so I have a question mark on the first piece, but some amount, be it the 3490 or 3940 or whatever, I do feel that there's a component of helping people in the community leverage. I mean, we're unique in that what we've got here compared to even Camden as far as having the fiber available. And I do feel that there's a lot of benefit to the average resident from what the Digital Equity Committee can bring forward.
Yeah. Yeah, the ACP program, the $30 a month is a heck of a program.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, but I don't know how many people there are who would take advantage of the installation price, or the $100. Yeah. Because we don't really know, do we, what the installation price will be for LCI? What they're asking.
Yeah, what we don't know is what the overall participation is gonna be.
Yeah, right.
Grant, all of that.
Yeah.
And I guess that's sort of my point in that this needs to be workshopped. I think it's a great idea, it's a great proposal, but we should get the committee up and running. And this sort of feels like when a couple of years ago we had a Recreation Commission member come to us at budget presentation time and say, I think we need a weed whacker for Breezemere Park. It was like, well, okay, is it gonna be gas? Is it gonna be electric? Where are you gonna store it? Who's gonna use it? And this is clearly more thought out than that, but there are still so many more questions. And so I agree with Steve that having some funds with which to work. So that being said, isn't there still money in the broadband?
I was gonna ask, I think there's 5,000 that hasn't been touched.
There's still, you mean in the, like, Waldo County?
No, not.
No, in the broadband, wasn't there $5,000 unspent
Oh, I don't have that in front of me.
for this year?
Like I said, I don't have that in front of me.
Well, I guess my suggestion would be
I think
if those funds are available, to assign them to the Digital Equity Committee, and then to X this out for now, and then let's work on fine tuning what this can do and working with LCI to figure out what the heck they're doing and where they're at in their process,
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
if that's a possibility.
Really, a little surprised we haven't heard from them.
Where?
We have.
Yeah.
I think there's.
I guess I'm not surprised, maybe disappointed.
I think our town administrator has been on them, and there's been maybe some vacations being had.
They're working on it behind the scenes, but the last thing I heard from LCI was, looked like the next round of Maine Connectivity Authority grants for the Reach Me I think it's the Reach Me program.
Yeah.
Wouldn't likely be coming out until some point summer or fall of this year.
Oh, it's not this month.
No,
Okay.
they're still having a lot of fights and discussions over the first round.
I haven't been following this.
What were we talking about then?
We thought it was gonna be this month.
They thought it was gonna be
There
February.
was 2 rounds. There was a round in the fall and a round that was supposed to happen in February. They have not made all the decisions on the round from the fall.
Yeah.
Really? What, how? This is not germane, but
There's so many complicated factors.
Okay.
But not for us.
Okay, well, then there's no rush. So,
So we are not missing out right this moment.
okay,
Right.
that was my
That's
concern.
That was the message I received, was we're still fighting over, not fighting, but still haven't reached agreement with MCA on round 1, and they postponed till later this year, the next round.
Because they had a number of applications in, right?
Yes, they
Okay.
did.
For the first round.
All of that.
How many, do you know?
I don't either.
What town is this?
No, the Maine
Oh,
Connectivity
the
Authority.
full grant.
A lot of towns applied for funds, and a lot of awards have been made, but, I say awards have been made, the devil's in the details in signing agreements to actually do this stuff is.
And one of the big things I heard is, and a friend of mine who works over there, is that a lot of the yes, perfect plan. Oh yeah, you're actually about half the budget. Just what we heard going through our own budget, 3 million became 6 million.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of these that were being engineered last summer and
Obsolete now.
submitted, it's obsolete.
All that being said, I think, well, I've said this before, I'm afraid that, especially now that the grant is down the road, that LCI is gonna come before this board with 2 weeks to go, before the grant is due, and say, we need this, this, and the other thing. I think we should have a conversation, the future board should have a conversation as how we are going to talk with LCI. When they do come, because I think they will come suddenly. That's just my guess.
Put
I think
that
it's-
on
I
a
think it's a-
future
I
agenda.
think
I
so.
think it's a good point, though.
Yeah, all right. We good to move on to page 20?
Yep.
Yeah.
Municipal support. Right off the top I'm gonna make this recommendation that we make the Historical Society, the library, and the LIA all at $1,500.
Agree. Totally agree.
How does everybody else feel?
I know that the library, what they said last time was that they needed a quote-unquote token amount from the town to show support so that they could qualify for state status and assistance. We asked but never really got a number from them. What's the minimum number for
Yeah,
that
and
qualification?
I'm not sure that there is a minimum number, and even if they had it, I'm not sure we'd get that in fear of us giving them the minimum number.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
right.
And that's just smart.
Sure.
But it just seems sort of fair and equitable.
It does, yeah.
Of organizations that are both very meaningful to our community, but I don't feel right giving them different amounts for basically completely arbitrary reasons.
I understand.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then there's the cemeteries and Rosie's ask of $16,000, which I know it took him a lot of work to get to where he's gotten organizationally. But I think given the current economic situation, I think it would be great for us to fund, say, a cemetery to tackle this with, see how it goes.
See what it
And,
looks like.
And see if like every year they can tackle
Right.
a cemetery and get it shipshape rather than like, let's have this huge plan that even Rosie said, I don't think we can do all of this in 1 year anyway.
Yeah, and he said Fletcher was the one they wanted to do first, which is the largest.
Yeah.
Why not?
So that, if you look at the numbers and what we've given them in the past, that would be the total amount. We usually give him 6.
Yeah.
He's asking for 16, it would be 8,500 total,
Yeah. And I think that, you know,
I think.
they've really worked at kind of reorganizing the committee and, you know, reinvigorating it. And I really like to see them kind of hitting out of the park the average routine maintenance and then do an awesome job tackling one of these cemeteries with these extra funds. And then see where we are a year from now. And if that program was a wild success, then let's look at doing it again. Does that make, so 85?
I'm good with that. I also think it's important for everybody to realize that the cemeteries that he's talking about don't cover all.
Right,
You know, there's cemeteries that we see on a regular basis that this isn't gonna cover.
Right.
You know, and to Vaguely's point, it would be nice to see him hitting the maintenance, just the basic maintenance, the mowing and trimming out of the park.
yeah,
That shouldn't be a problem.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
I do have a question about that, about the cemeteries. And this is just for my information, I'm confused. What implication, if any, does their proposal to carry forward the $11,971? What is that
Well, a portion of that will be utilized between now and June 30.
Yeah, okay.
And I don't
There'll
know,
be activities, mowing.
I don't know what
Okay.
portion
Where
of
do you say
that
Down here.
remains.
The carry forward.
Yeah,
Okay.
I still, I don't know where that money goes, I guess. That's-
Well, it's,
For a while, there was fence money.
well, the money doesn't go anywhere unless basically you or the townspeople, you can lapse it into something instead of carrying it forward.
Yeah.
And, or the townspeople could vote not to carry it forward and it would lapse into unassigned fund balance. Or they could tell you they're done, you know?
Yeah.
So does this leave enough money for just the routine maintenance? So the 8,000 would go towards,
We give them 6 every
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
And then, so it's gonna be 2,500 on top of the 6, so the total is 8,500.
but isn't 8,000 just for Fletcher alone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
8,000.
So don't we need 8 plus 6 then? 6,000 for maintenance, 8,000 for
No,
Fletcher?
he's asking for 16 total, which includes the 6,000 that we give him every year,
Okay,
Right.
okay? He has 4 cemeteries that he's talking about leveling and cleaning up headstones, repairing headstones. So that's an additional $10,000. So I
No.
just divided that by 4. What?
Now, if you look on page 21,
I did the math, it's like 8,000 something for Fletcher.
the second small box underneath cemeteries,
Yeah.
that gives you a breakdown for each one of the various cemeteries
Oh,
they
there
were
it
looking to do.
I see.
Yeah, but I guess the question would be, is Fletcher the goal for this year? Because, or is it Cross, or is it Thomas, or is it?
How about this? How about I approach the cemetery trustee chair and say,
What would be the one?
which is the group's priorities?
Okay,
For lack of a better word, the board would like to see a demonstrated success before they jump in with both feet into the whole program
yep,
somewhere.
yep, sounds good.
And then give you a little better info on that and the carry forward and expenses between now and June,
Yep.
so that we
Yep.
don't
The
short fund
letters
it.
are so small.
Yeah, holy cow. Okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay.
Anything else under municipal support?
Yes.
Yes.
Memorial Day meals. Has Rosie given any update on the high school requesting funds for
Oh, the-
payment?
No, for marching.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't, the additional funds that they asked for was not in here.
Right. Is he still confident that we won't have to pay for that?
I think he was gonna figure something out.
I'll ask, when I talk to him about cemeteries, I'll ask him about Memorial Day too.
Okay.
'Cause-
No, I think the way he put it was that he had already figured something out.
Yeah,
And-
He had a rabbit.
yeah,
Hat somewhere. Okay.
Yeah,
okay. So moving along, provider agencies, page 23.
The provider agencies, the budget committee met on the 21st and made their recommendations. So that column has changed.
Mhm.
So you now have something under budget committee recommends. And some point you'll have to address.
Okay.
And we could do that right now.
You could do that right
So-
now.
Now that they've acted. Okay.
okay, so they removed $1,081 from the Waldo Cap's request, right?
Well, yep,
Yeah, Waldo Cap was requesting 581, and they did recommended 4,000.
Mhm.
And then they doubled the hospice volunteers.
correct.
What was the reason for that?
I didn't attend the meeting, I don't know. I
It'd be
can,
nice to get a.
yeah, I think,
If we can get a
Yep.
blurb of why they did what they did, that would be great.
okay. Yeah, then we'll get you a blurb from Budget Committee.
Okay.
I think Waldo Community Action Partners, but I'll get more definition. They got a fair amount of money of ARPA money that they use for housing. And they had based their request on a certain percentage of the monies that were expended in Lincolnville, because they got a lot of more money that they distributed for housing in Lincolnville in the last year, one-time money. They upped their request because it was a percentage of the number they spent in Lincolnville, but they also already got a administrative fee that came with that monies. So I think they thought it was a kind of double dipping.
Okay.
We'll get clarification on recommendations.
Okay. Anything else on page 23 for now? All right. Page 24, here's our capital improvement. So the fire truck fund is what it is. Road improvement, the reevaluation is what it is. Here's your bandstand.
Yeah, what's going on with the bandstand? I mean, we've appropriated money, what, the last 3?
Last year, we requested $35,000 to do the roof and the staining,
Nothing.
cleaning, and the board chose to recommend 25 and took out the staining till after the roof was done. Well, the roof is hopefully going to be done this year, and
So
the
we've got staining left.
cleaning it and treating it and staining it needs, in my opinion, needs to be done. Last was done in 2008.
Needs to be done ASAP.
So it's time. Yep. All right.
Huh.
So anything else on capital improvement?
Where does the money go for, actually, it may not even be capital improvement, I don't know, but we get asking questions tonight.
All right, ask.
Where did the money go to replace the Green Monster 3 times over? I mean, where does that money go? It's not getting done, and the guy stood right here, or sat right here and told us, yeah, we're gonna put that on hold until you do your remodel.
The,
That would have been back under Breezemere, so that.
no, under athletic athletic
Yeah.
fields. And the money, I'll have to double check it. I'll have to see where we appropriated the money, Green Monster money. But if we didn't do the project in the year it was supposed to be done, it probably rolled in unassigned fund balance and needs to be appropriated again.
Okay,
But I'll double check.
Yeah, did you?
thank you.
Because it may be sitting in an account somewhere because it was undone, so.
Yeah.
So, the bandstand is a totally different group than Brisbane Park, right?
It's not a totally different group, but the Recreation Commission really hasn't helped or done a whole lot in terms of things with the bandstand, and we carried, so we, staff, put together an estimate last year for the roofing and the staining.
But I guess,
There should be,
Who's the-
there should be trustees.
yeah, who's the people
Technically.
with the, we need to maintain this, or who, we need to.
The 5 of you,
Yeah.
Okay.
but, I mean, ultimately, but
The bandstand trustees,
Last-
though, should be working and.
last
advising us.
year, David and I put together the estimate for the roofing. I mean, we got stuff from Gene out of the Vikings and the shingles and whatever else. So, I mean, and that's one of the things that, in addition to, well, you saw David's presentation on road surface management. We're now looking at buildings for roofs and heating systems and septic systems and sidings and, trying to be all encompassing so that we can get a plan so the fire chief doesn't come in and say, hey, I need a new septic system or a new roof the same year that we need monies for Calderwood Road, or try to get that capital improvement program on a relatively even keel so we don't have wild swings and everything comes due all at once.
I guess somebody has to pick up the dropped ball, and I get it that we're the ones that do it, it's town infrastructure. But we know that when we start pounding nails down there, someone or two or three or four someones are gonna be, what are you doing? This is not what we want for this, So I'm thinking of stuff like that,
Yeah.
and
Happens with every project we do.
Yeah.
Somebody doesn't know about it or
Yeah.
doesn't like what we're doing, and it's like,
Well,
well, with the exception of Gene out here in the audience, I mean, the public doesn't run to your town, to your selectmen's meeting when they have a chance for public input or view the stuff that we post on the web. This is all out there on the web. Available to anybody. We've got a copy out front. Somebody wants to come in and look, and it's like,
I guess,
we're gonna have town meeting and people are gonna show up and say, why are you paving that road? Or why aren't you paving this road?
well, a lot of the questions you're asking really go back to having that workshop with the Recreation Commission and representatives from this, it's having meetings before now to nail down kind of some of those, where are we at, what are our plans, etc.
It's,
need to run off topic.
no, that's all right. It's
all
not
good and
as,
relevant.
it's not as clean and neat as we'd all like to see it. I think it'd be nice to have, for anyone that serves on this board, a long-range plan.
Yep.
That's tied to items and tied to how it would be paid for. And then, at some point, we're all gonna change up here, and it'd be nice to hand that plan to the next person that comes in to fill any one of these seats. And not to say plans can't and don't change, but at least there's some recognition that these are our priorities, so that when, somebody comes in and wants to build that proverbial airport, we can say, well, get it in line with this other stuff and fight it out for the dollars. Because we do have a fair amount of infrastructure that over time, every day it gets a little bit closer to the end of its life.
Yeah.
And we need to either decide whether or not we're gonna renovate it, replace it, get rid of it, make some of those determinations. Because, I'm thinking, look at the size of the center fire station, and that is what, 10, 11 years old, 12 years old?
Yeah.
And when we have to re-roof that thing, that's gonna be
It's gonna be a project.
a project, an expensive project. But we gotta do it. But we need to know when, we need to be planning for that day.
Yeah. So are we ready to move on to page 25, debt service? Yeah?
Mhm.
This is the first year I think I've ever done this, where it's like, instead of just like,
That's
yep,
looking good.
here it is, move on. Like, actually?
Let's stop and enjoy it.
I
Last
think
year.
I think we should bask in the glow of this final payment for just a little bit before we get into whatever we're gonna get into. So there it is.
Soft target, that we received any feedback from the sewer district yet?
Ew.
Nope. And they've had 2 meetings. They had a meeting in January and a meeting
But then there's
last
executive session, so
week.
it would be nice to get a response of any kind.
Yes.
What if we didn't fund this? Would we be in trouble?
The sewer district thing?
Yeah, the sewer district.
Yeah, the town signed, approved an agreement. Town meeting approved that. And if we didn't pay our thing, and they chose to pursue us elsewhere, which they certainly would, our attorney would tell us quickly, you better pay this before you go to court and lose it, and pay it anyways.
Yeah.
This would be nice for them to respond when we're giving them $19,000 a year.
Yeah,
Well, you can, yeah.
yeah.
I should say that, but.
I'm glad you did. So moving on to page 26, the final page, budget totals.
If we have, not to back up, but and taking this side a step further, if we haven't heard by the next meeting, would you like that on a real agenda? So you could say, could we remind them or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great idea.
Still waiting for a response.
And so page 26 is going to look a bit different. I don't know if you've done any of the back of the napkin numbers yet, David, but so we're waiting on some information to come back.
Well, we're hoping that we get updated numbers on revenue sharing
Okay.
on or about your next meeting. The others we can look at a little further, but,
Okay.
and we can give you some math to do the implications of that,
Mm-hmm.
even if it stayed the same,
All right.
if that makes any sense.
So is everyone all good with this particular review of the budget?
Yeah.
All righty. Well, let's get back to our regularly scheduled program of select person updates. Kern, do you have an update for us?
No, I'm sorry, I have, sorry.
Really?
You've already said
I have
Relevant to this.
Yeah, relative.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, I got nothing here.
Josh, do you have anything for us?
I don't know.
Okay.
See? Tell me.
Mike
It's a
No,
disease.
nope, don't have
and
any.
Steve?
nothing substantial.
Okay, and same. So we'll move along to the treasurer and payroll warrants that we need to approve and sign. Can I have a motion, please?
Move to approve the treasurer and payroll warrants.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? And if there's no other business the board wishes to attend to, can I have a final motion?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?